right, guys, again, we're back. We're going to go over some frequently asked questions about pressure washing equipment, that sort of thing. So if you hadn't hit that subscribe button, please do so now so you'll be notified the next time we upload a video or either go live from one of our job sites. Also, I'd like to mention right now, we have a new sponsor for the channel, UZ Marketing. Guys, if you're looking for business cards, magnet signs, yard signs, and y'all know we all preach about our yard signs over and over again. Check out the link in the description right now. As of today, they have an incredible deal. I almost couldn't believe it. I asked the guy, are you sure this is true? So 1,000 business cards, high quality business cards for only $25, and that's including shipping. So take advantage of that while it's still in effect. Again, 1,000 business cards for $25. There'll be a link in the description. Just click through. So I want to talk about pressure washing equipment. Guys, I get this question all the time, which pressure washing equipment you need to start out with. So we're going to go over a couple things. This video might get a little bit lengthy. And of course, if you're a veteran in the power washing industry, please feel free to drop a comment in the box below to help me expand on some of the topics we're talking about today. So the number one question I've got is, what type of equipment do you need to start power washing? And there are some standards. I know some of the guys out here on YouTube talk about get what you get, don't throw a fit, just get out there and start spraying water. And I'm not totally against that. That is true. You need to get started, but there are some mistakes you can make that could slow down your progress. There are some shortcuts that you can take to actually speed up the progress, especially if you're just starting and trying to get that first 50 clients on the books. So what type of equipment do you need to start out with? And of course, y'all have all seen our YouTube channel, and you know we have the big wash trailer, we have the buffer tank and the giant surface cleaners. And that is what we need. So this may not be necessarily what you need to start out with. Sometimes that is a bit daunting, thinking about you got to drop $20,000 into some equipment or $30,000. Some of these pieces of equipment we have $5,000, $6,000 per machine, and you got to be ready to make repairs on it or replace it if necessary at any time. So don't think that that is exactly what you need to get started in. What you will need to get started in is the following. You need a pressure washer, obviously. You need a way to apply chemical. We're going to go over some of those things. And it's not necessarily something that's going to cost you an arm and leg to get into. So we're going to kind of go over what equipment you need to get started, what I feel, in my opinion, after 27 years in this industry, what would be your base model standard pressure washer to get into, and some other nozzles and chemical applications. So if you go to Lowe's, Home Depot, that sort of thing, you're going to walk in there and you're going to find some pressure washers that are basically under $400 or $500. Matter of fact, I have one here at home that I use just for little driveway cleaning doormats and that sort of thing. And it's a gasoline powered. It puts out 2.8 gallons per minute. And I think it produces about 26 or 2,700 PSI. Little 3 or 4 horsepower engine. It's not the best thing in the world. It's got a little 25-foot hose, but something like that, I got to thinking, I was like, you know, if stuff hit the fan and this is all I had to go put some money in the bank with, make some money, put food on the table, if you will, could I go do it? And the answer is yes. Now, of course, I wouldn't want to because I've been spoiled by some of the large machines we got, but this little home model that I got, I can definitely lawn wash a patio, a driveway, a deck, a pool deck, or what have you. Now, that being said, these units are about $300 or $400. They're really pretty cheap, you know, to obtain. Go in and grab one. You will need a way to apply chemicals to the home or structure or driveway. So with a small machine like that, you can actually clean some dumpster pads. You can, like I said, do patios, vinyl siding houses. Now, you're probably going to be limited to that 1.5, maybe 2-story with a little step ladder, but you're going to need a way to apply the chemical. Our preferred method of applying chemical is a 12-volt pump. You can do the same. You could do an X-Jet. It would be great for one of these tiny machines. It's going to be a bit troublesome dragging everything around the yard, But maybe for the first 15 or 20 jobs, you can definitely start to knock out some of these little spec houses in neighborhoods near you for $300-400 each. Let's say if you're doing a house and a driveway, one job would pay for the little machine. And, if you had some problems with it, you obviously could return it. Now, these machines are not going to last forever. Now, you can clean dumpster pads with it. We teach that in our dumpster training course. That description will also be down. That link will also be down in the description, BillyDavidsonVIP.com. You can clean dumpster pads with it. You can clean small driveways, vinyl siding houses. You can probably blow some gutters out with it. Be great for small stuff, $300 or $400. The X-Jet, if you're going to apply chemicals with an X-Jet, that's going to run you about $150. It's a great way to apply chemicals. You're not necessarily going to go out there and clean shingle roofs and things like that. But if you need to throw some sodium hypochlorite on a 1.5 or 2-story house, maybe you got a little 5 or 6 foot step ladder there, this equipment can get it done and you can start to make some money. In addition to that, you'll need some water hoses. You need some buckets, eye protection, that sort of thing. But you're into the business probably for well under $1,000 with your business cards and that sort of thing, and you're up and running. And with the proper marketing, you could probably get more houses than you really want to wash, even with this tiny machine. Now, when I first started, I had a 3-gallon per minute machine that produced 3,000 PSI. Wouldn't hardly run a surface cleaner. Even this little machine probably wouldn't run a surface cleaner that well, but you could get a small surface cleaner, the kind that basically attaches to the wand, basically almost like one of your pressure tips. Now, you would have to pre-treat the driveway if you're going to do some concrete work pretty heavily with your X-Jet. And then that small surface cleaner could go in there and clean it up. And it's going to take you forever, but still, at this time when you got more time than you do money, this is definitely a way to start bringing in some extra revenue. And like I said, the dumpster pads, they pay really good. Sometimes you go in for 20 or 30 minutes and knock out a dumpster pad, even with a small machine, 2 or 3 gallons per minute, 25, 26, 2,700 PSI, something in that range. Obviously, you want it to be gasoline powered. And like I said, they usually come with a little 25-foot hose. I have seen guys add another 25-foot hose to it, but that you kind of get into your limit there, but you can still go out and make a good living on a weekend. I know some guys that work at a 40-hour week at a plant or a manufacturing company, and they taking these small pressure washers out on a weekend and taking care of some of these jobs that the guys that are in the industry that do much bigger work like us, we really don't have the time to do or almost don't want to go do it. If you have a little house for $325, sometimes those are a bit of a nuisance for us to go do, but it's definitely a market for that if you're just getting into the power washing business and have smaller equipment and going in and taking care of some of these clients. And then again, those clients are going to be repeat clients. You're going to be in the neighborhood again. You can ask them to post your name, your phone number, or either maybe your little image of your business card on their Facebook, the Nextdoor app, that sort of thing. Start to kind of spread the word around the neighborhood and it'll take off. Trust me, I've seen this go over and over again. So don't let the lack of funds keep you from getting into the power washing industry. Obviously, you got to have enough to get into it with this entry level equipment, but you don't need the $20,000 or $30,000 rigs. And again, I can't stress enough how key your marketing will be to keep those lead flows coming in. And then you can kind of gradually raise that price from customer to customer, maybe only $10, $15 per customer, and walk that price up until you reach your cap. And you know, when you stop getting jobs completely, you need to back it down. And I always like to try to find that happy median in there. And oftentimes that happy median price range changes from season to season. So there are times in the year where we can get $20, $30, $40 more for a driveway, like a little four or 5 car driveway versus other times of season. So depending on your area in your market, you're going to have to search for that little happy medium, searching for where that top end is and searching where the bottom end is. And I always tell guys that bottom end, that like they say, the $99 guys, sometimes customers don't want to have nothing to do with you because you're too cheap. So think about that. If you're not getting enough calls coming in, some of that could be because of that. Also, the next step up in equipment would probably be about a 4-gallon per minute machine. And again, you can do some downstreaming with that, vinyl siding houses, stucco. You can do some gutter cleaning if that's, wanting to blow out gutters, debris and roof. Debris and roofs is a big business. So even if you in some areas of the country where you don't have mold and mildew, you still have skylights, you still have roofs where limbs and debris fall on a roof, get stuck in the valley, even up north. That's a big deal, especially after some of the storms y'all experience where these roofs have debris all on it. Sometimes these pressure washers is the ideal. Go out there and blow them off. Obviously, you can need a backpack blower or a hand blower too as well to help assist. But these 4-gallon per minute machines can definitely handle a lot of these smaller jobs. Now, also, what can you do with a 4-gallon per minute? How much they are? Usually, entry-level 4-gallon per minute machine, Honda engine. The GX390 is a real popular engine in the pressure washing world. Usually General Pump, AR Pump, Comet Pump. Those are decent. Cat Pump is basically the Cadillac of all pumps. So if you see a Honda engine with a Cat Pump on it and it's in your budget, your price range, I would prefer to see you with that particular setup versus another type of pump. But most often, most of these pumps are pretty rock solid so long as you take care of them. But anyway, the Honda engine is a must. We always go with Honda. Briggs & Stratton was really good years ago. I hadn't really not that familiar with them these days. I know they've had a lot of changes to their company as well. But just think about that GX390 produces somewhere between 12 and 13 horsepower, 4 gallons a minute. That's going to put you around that 4,000 PSI, but that's not all that important right now since you're going to primarily be soft washing using a chemical application, whether using 12-volt pump or using something like an X-Jet. And like I always say, if you're going at a caveman way and you just got a pump up sprayer, I definitely understand. I've had to do that before because that will get the job done, even a pump up sprayer, and then using the pressure washer to basically rinse the building or house off. Now, when it comes to driveways, 4-gallon per minute machine, you can run, they say 4 inches per gallon, basically. So you got 4 gallons, 4 inches. I don't necessarily quite buy into that. I think you can pretty safely run a 20-inch surface cleaner on a 4-gallon per minute machine so long as you pre-treat the concrete. Anything that you're running 4 gallons per minute and under, you're going to want to pre-treat that concrete to really speed up the process and also eliminate or help eliminate some of the striping you may get from the surface cleaner. So 4 gallons per minute, that and under, you want to necessarily be pre-treating the concrete in most cases. So in addition, you want to use the X-Jet. Now, I personally know that you can use an X-Jet on a 4-gallon per minute machine. I did it for years. We could all day long hit 3 stories with it. On a real windy day, you might have to have a little 6-foot step ladder there. But again, it is a bit, carrying all of this stuff around. You got hoses, leaks, and spilling things. So it's a little bit of a trouble doing it. But once you get your system down, especially you got a helper, or if you're working by yourself, you make sure you have any systems in place, like having a no-spill bucket is a really good idea when dealing with an X-Jet, that sort of thing. Because you got to think about it. You got this X-Jet at the end of your nozzle, and it's applying your bleach solution, but you may pull your bucket over, and now you got 5 or 6% sodium hypochlorite sitting in these people's lawn, which is going to basically act like Roundup at that point, just kill a giant area. So it's doable, but you have to be careful. The preferred method is using a 12-volt pump that's dedicated system, but just getting started, you can go make you a few $1,000s a month, even with some of these smaller machines. Now, entry-level price of that, you're going to probably be looking under that $2,000. That will get you a machine, get you an X-Jet, some extra hoses, a couple buckets, lamps, like extension wand, even a small step ladder. I think you could probably get into that, all for under or about that 2K. Step up from that is your electric start machines, your 5.5 gallon per minute machines. Usually those are going to run on a buffer tank. You're starting to get into some higher end equipment. Very large residential houses will require some of these larger equipment just because you can reach higher. We do some houses in our area that are 4 stories, and we would really struggle to do those if we only had a 4 gallon per minute machine, just because they're so high. So applying that chemical over that 3 stories, you want enough power to push those chemicals up, especially if you use an X-Jet, that sort of thing. And oftentimes we are soft washing, but you may run across a wasp nest or a mud diver's nest or something like that that's going to take a little bit of power to get that off. And that's where those 5.5 electric starts are really going to come through for you. And again, electric start, those are nice, man. Not pulling a rope is really sweet. 5.5 gallons a minute, you can be able to hit those 3 and 4 story spots pretty easy with the certain tips, maybe a small step ladder, maybe even a small lance. Now those type of machines are usually going to be on a skid unit. What I mean by that is going to be basically like on a pallet that slides into the back of your truck or on your trailer. It's going to have a buffer tank that needs to be fed by the customer's water supply, and you can get a lot done. Those type of machines are run a good 24-inch surface cleaner. Again, you're not dealing with the highest flow in the world, so you may have some pre-treating to do even on the 5.5 gallon per minute machine. So think about that too, and sometimes you can upsell a little bit of that too. Let the customer know you're pre-treating, post-treating, that sort of thing, like we talked about in a video here recently. You can make some, significant money, especially if you got 3 or 4 of them and lined up in one day, and you're all upselling a post-treatment, $50, $60, depending on what driveway it is. It could be some serious money. You can definitely pay for your gas and lunch and sodium hypochlorite for the day, so always be looking for that upsell. And your customers expect to be upsold. So always let your customer know everything you offer: gutter cleaning, cleaning roofs, concrete, window cleaning, if that's what you're doing, because they may not understand or have the knowledge base that you or I would, being in the industry. So think about that. Your next step above the 5.5 gallon per minute machine would be an 8 gallon per minute machine. That is almost the gold standard in the industry now. We ran 8 gallon per minute machines for several years, and we loved them. Usually that's going to put you in around that $5,000 mark. That's obviously going to be electric start on a skid. You're going to need a buffer tank. It's going to occupy the bed of your truck permanently. Pretty much is something you're not going to be taking in or out. So think about that. If you have a trailer, a tow behind trailer, you're going to have a place to store it. Again, the buffer tank's important for the 8 gallon per minute machine. Generally speaking, you want at least a 150 gallon buffer tank. I would prefer to see you have something a little bit bigger. Obviously, you're going to be feeding that buffer tank with the customer's water spigot. And yes, I get this question all the time: do you use the customer's water supply? And I do all the time, without fail. Usually it's no issue. You can check if you get some feedback from the customers, what about the amount of water you're using? Because you will use a significant amount of water. In most areas in the country, now this is not accounting for places out on the West Coast that experience droughts and stuff, but in most other places in the country, your water that you're using to pressure wash a driveway or soft wash a house is a fairly insignificant price that the homeowner is going to occur. Now you can check these water prices in your area fairly easy by checking your water bill. Now, if you live in an apartment or something like that and you don't have a water bill, you may have to do a little research. Now, in our area, now this is just our area here in Louisiana, 1,000 gallons of water costs about $2. So on a given job, I may use about that much, maybe twice that much, but generally speaking, we're using well under $10 worth of water to wash your house. So sometimes having that little bit of knowledge to let the customer know, hey, I'm going to use about this many thousands of gallons of water, and the going rate in this area is X amount of dollars. And if that is something you can tell them, they usually can digest it and understand it. Because again, these homeowners don't know. And if you're not there to educate them on some of these processes, you could lose the job just over one bit of information. Because obviously, if they have a concern about you using their water, obviously, they're probably not worried about $5 or $10. They probably have no idea what it's cost. They may think it might be $200. So letting them know that, hey, this is the price for 1,000 gallons of water in this area. I expect to use, let's say, 1,500 gallons of water on your project. And then that way you can kind of calculate that price. That's real important, guys. You don't know how many times we answer these questions in the comments about using a customer's water supply. Now, there are times we don't use a customer's water supply, but that's very rare. That's generally speaking when we're doing heavy equipment cleaning or some odd stuff on HOA, maybe in front of the neighborhood, the signage or the entranceway. Sometimes there's no water. But if we got to use our own water and bring our water back and forth, that is a significant upcharge to the customer to pay for those trips. So just thinking about that, those 8-gallon per minute machines also will run well off of a 24-inch surface cleaner. They will even run a 28-inch surface cleaner or a 30-inch surface cleaner. And like I said, the 8-gallon per minute is the electric start. Usually your Honda GX690s is what you're going to occur on some of those. Again, you're going to find the general pump, Comet pump, those sort of things. And like I said, those are going to be anywhere between that $5,000 and $6,000 range getting everything set up, because there's more to it than just the buffer tank and the pressure washer. You got a fuel tank, fuel lines, battery cables. Don't let that scare you away. It's not that hard to hook up, even the plumbing and stuff. So if you're looking to get into that 8-gallon per minute machine, do some research on it, because generally speaking, someone that's pretty handy with a little bit of plumbing and stuff like that, you can get it hooked up and plumbed. And then oftentimes I tell guys all the time, don't be so, ambitious about hooking all of this up, because oftentimes it's going to get changed anyway. We've changed our setup several times. We find a setup that's working for a certain time period. We're doing a certain type of cleaning projects, and there's times we change our systems around. Maybe add a dump valve, add another pressure washer, things like that, add another tank to the trailer. So long as your plumbing is tight, it's not leaking water or sucking air, you're pretty much good. And know that you're going to have repairs to it. Because if you're pulling around on a trailer or it's in the bed of your truck, potholes, railroad tracks, you name it, dirt roads, all that stuff's bouncing around. So you're going to be making repairs to it periodically anyway. So just get it hooked up to where it's working, and don't try to overthink it too much. Also, with 8-gallon per minute machines, you can do very large parking lot surface cleaning them. We do a lot of that when we're going in and restriping some of our parking lots. We will go in and surface clean hundreds of thousands of square feet. That's where recently I went to a much larger machine, even an 8-gallon per minute machine. That brings me to the next machine, the 12, 13, and 14-gallon per minute machines. Usually you're going to spend $6,000 or $7,000 per machine, depending on the manufacturer. On those, usually those are the Honda IGX 800s. That's what we're currently running. Again, electric start on a skid, buffer tank, all of that entire setup. But the surface cleaning is much faster, especially when we're doing 200,000 or 300,000 square feet of concrete, trying to get in there. And a lot of times we try to do this on a long weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, where we get in and surface clean it all Friday and Saturday, try to get out of there, start letting it dry, so we can go in there Sunday night and start parking lot, striping the line. So a lot of times these larger machines is a must for us, because in our case, we're under a time crunch most often when we're trying to wash and stripe that parking lot. It's challenging, but it's fun. Like I tell y'all all the time, the striping pays so much more than pressure washing per hour. So once you get into the parking lot striping, you will see how much more it pays. It will spoil you, I promise you. So, and again, if y'all need some training on parking lot striping, please go visit BillyDavidsonVIP.com. The All-Pro Parking Lot Striping course is now available for you to join and start looking at that information and getting familiar with it. And we've had a lot of success over the past year of training guys in striping, and you could be the next guy out there. So ride around in your area, look around. If you see some parking lines and ADA markings that are a bit faded, it's probably no one in your area doing it. Or if there are a couple guys in your area, they're probably so busy, we can't stripe everything. So the little town we live in, we could probably handle 3 or 4 more stripers here, because we can't get to all of them. We got striping jobs lined up all the way up until October. So think about that striping. You'll love it. It's very, very gratifying to go in there. So guys, I just wanted to bring that to you. Also, make sure, don't forget to check out BillyDavidsonVIP.com. If you're looking for some print material, UZ Marketing, right now they have a phenomenal deal, 1,000 business cards for $25. If you buy through them, I'll make a little bit of a commission off of it, and I'll appreciate that as well. Kind of keeps the channel going. Yeah, and guys, I'm Billy Davidson here with BillyDavidsonVIP.com. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like this video, please leave us a like on the way out. And we'll see you in the next video.